In this video, I want to share with you the best study apps available, the ones you'll find the most useful as a student. These apps are all available on both iOS and Android, so you can definitely download and access them, although some of them you can also just access in the browser, so you don't need to worry about downloading anything onto your phone and using up that precious storage space. But before we start talking about the best study apps available, I just want to talk about some apps I don't think you need. There's some that are often recommended by other people, and there's some other alternatives that you can use for yourself that will waste less of your time or potentially money, with some of them having paid subscriptions. The first type of app that I don't recommend are the ones linked with the Pomodoro technique, so apps like Forest or Hatch. There's nothing wrong with those apps specifically. They're great for what they are, but I don't think that you need them, because the main purpose of those apps is to set a timer to get yourself rolling in your study. But we all have a timer function on our phones. We can set a timer for ourselves without needing an app for it. And the other thing is that these apps often are linked with something else. For example, the Forest app allows you to grow trees, and Hatch allows you to hatch an animal out of the egg. But university is hard enough, and most of the time we're fighting to stay focused in our study, and all that does is actually introduce more distraction. So I recommend just setting the timer on your phone for 20 or 25 minutes, and then when that timer goes off, resetting it for that shorter period of time for your break. If you're following the Pomodoro technique, you don't have to follow it, by the way. The second app that I don't recommend is Grammarly, and a lot of students use it, but here's why I don't. University is all about learning how to write professionally. When we leave university and we have our job, one of the key problems is in most workplaces, they will block the browser from being able to access sites like Grammarly, ChatGPT and things like that. So you can't rely on them to improve your writing when you're in the workforce. So if you can learn when you're at university how to make the most of the free apps that will definitely be available on computers like Microsoft Word, then you're making your own life easier later by developing that skill before you're in a workplace where they demand it and are paying you for it. Secondly, Microsoft Word has a great inbuilt editor that has improved immensely over the last few years. And the great thing is that you can go into the settings and you can increase the level of grammar that it's looking for. So Microsoft Word will then start to look at your work at a higher level, a more professional level, and it will pick up on things that without upping that setting, it wouldn't pick up on. For example, when you use passive voice, Microsoft Word can actually tell you that. You don't need Grammarly to tell you that. So by learning to use Microsoft Word effectively, you don't need to take your work and put it into a secondary app. The third type of app that I don't think you need are ones like Todoist or Minimalist. They're ones related to making and building a to-do list that you can then check off. And this is just personal for me. What I found is I used to use to-do lists all the time, and I used to spend a lot of time creating the to-do lists, checking my list to see what I had to do, and then ticking them off when I had done them. And it was a great sugar hit, and I felt like I'd achieved something, but it was all just a waste of time. Instead, I recommend just using a calendar app, and in your calendar, making sure that you add all of your assessments, all of your exams, how much they're worth and when they're due, and making your calendar app into like an assessment planner to help you. That way, you'll always know what you need to do. You'll get reminders on your phone, and the last thing you need is to download an entire new app. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 best apps for when you're a student. Number 1 is OneNote. Now, OneNote is available as part of the Microsoft 365 package. It is amazing for taking lecture notes, especially if you have a laptop and you can take your lecture notes while you're sitting in class. So it's got a few different things available on it that make it better than other note-taking applications. The main thing is that you can simply type your own notes straight into it. You can take screenshots or photos and you can add it. You can add videos. You can also hit record and it will take a voice recording for you. Although I also like to use Otter AI for that. That's amazing because it transcribes so well and puts in, like the full stops and sentence structure where you need it as well. So that's a great bonus app for you if you like. OneNote is amazing at being able to organize your lecture notes so that it makes it easier for when you come time to doing your assessments, because all of your notes are already online or on your computer, because OneNote will easily link with your OneDrive. And then you can Command F or Control F and search for whatever information you need to complete your assessments. The other thing is that then you can take those notes and you can easily structure them for your exam study notes. I've made a separate video on how to do that easily and quickly, and you can do it yourself manually, or you can use ChatGPT to help. So I'll pop the link in the description to that video below for you. The second app that I think is the most useful is actually ChatGPT. And I know that everybody recommends ChatGPT, but there are a few different reasons why I recommend it, and it's not for writing your assignments. So yeah, okay, we all know that we can ask ChatGPT to write an assignment for us. It'll spit out something fairly terrible unless you spend a lot of time coaching it into what you want. But what ChatGPT is really useful for is understanding university language. When we get assignment instructions, for example, for an essay or a scientific report, the university often uses language that is just hard to understand. They use words, but they don't always explain what they mean, like synthesize or critically analyze. And it's great to take those assignment instructions, copy, paste them straight into ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to explain it to you in plain language exactly what the lecturer is asking you to do. Then you're not wasting your time on an entire assignment that potentially your lecturer doesn't want, and then that gets you a worse grade and you've wasted your time, which is really frustrating, I know. I can give you a tip though, if you are going to use ChatGPT to help you write your assignments, and the same goes for Bard or Copilot, they're all as bad as each other. They're terrible with their resources. So they could write something for you and give you a reference, but the reference is often made up or incorrect, or that reference never said what ChatGPT or Bard is saying it says. A way to help fix this is to ask it to give you the URL for the reference. You can then click on that URL and make sure that it actually said what Chat says it says. And you'll notice that a lot of the URLs are also made up, or 404s and things like that. But that can help tidy up your work so that you have less mistakes, less errors, and less chance of getting a poor mark simply because you used ChatGPT and ChatGPT decided to make things up. Number 3 is Quizlet. I'm sure everybody has heard of Quizlet. Basically, it's a great app for making flashcards to help you study. The good thing about Quizlet is that you can do this manually. You can take your lecture notes and turn them into flashcards yourself, but another option is that you can use ChatGPT to help you make those flashcards. And that can speed up the whole process because you can just drop all of your study notes, your lecture notes straight into Chat and ask it to help you with what the question and the answers should be, and you can just plug that straight into Quizlet. One downside of Quizlet is that there is a paid versus a free version, but most of what you need, most of what's useful is available in that free version. Number 4 is Google Scholar. When you start studying, your university will most likely recommend that you use their library website for all of your searching, for journal articles and research and reviews and things like that. Most library websites have a pretty poor algorithm compared to Google Scholar. Google Scholar makes research easy and it has a lot of features beyond just having access to journal articles there. For example, most of the time you can access the PDFs straight in after you do a search. You can save them to a library for later in Google Scholar just by creating a login using your standard Gmail or something like that. So it's very easy to use, and again, you can access it anywhere, on any computer, on your phone, and you can access your saved library anywhere. And it's easy to add articles and remove them and to do searches, but the algorithm is so much better. It makes it so much easier to find journal articles that will help you with your assignments, and so it speeds up your assignment process. Whereas what I found most of the time with the library websites is it gives you a lot of articles that are not helpful, and then you waste a lot of time trying to read those journal articles to find the information you need, only to discover it had nothing to do with what you were looking for at all. Number 5, Calm. This app probably comes as no surprise to anybody. It's an amazing app to help us just relax when we're feeling stressed or anxious. But I find one of the best things is being able to use white noise. So being able to switch something on to drown out all the background noise if we're trying to stay focused and studying. It can really help. And the great thing is that we can use it anywhere. We don't have to be in a really noisy place. It can just be little noises that are maybe annoying us, like if when you're in the library and somebody's fingernails are being really annoying and tapping on a keyboard. Normally it might not bother you. You may not even notice it, but suddenly when you're trying to study for an exam that's the next day and you're already really quite stressed and struggling with staying focused, it can really bug you and disturb you. So being able to just lock in and use an app like Calm is amazing. Now I want to share with you one last bonus app, and that's Endnote. You may not need this in your first or even your second year of university, and it will depend on what discipline or degree you're studying, how useful it will be for you. But if you find yourself doing a lot of writing where you have to do a lot of references like scientific writing or technical writing, or if you're heading into your postgraduate studies, then Endnote is amazing and will speed up your citing and referencing no end. It builds that library for you. I've made a separate video on that explains step by step how to use it and how to use it quickly and easily. There's a lot of sub features that most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, you simply don't need and you don't need to know about to get the core function out of Endnote.